So one thing that many studies are showing is that you can improve your health and improve your metabolism with some sort of calorie restriction. So in other words, eating less food. Because the reality is that the average person just eats too much food. Well, I should say the average American. And studies have found that when people start cutting their calories, that a lot of their different markers for health will improve. And not only that, it'll help people live longer, it'll help prevent certain diseases, and it'll also improve the function of people's brains. So that sounds simple enough. Why doesn't everyone just try it? Well, the problem with doing this calorie restriction is you get hungry. And we know that cutting calories will work, it just doesn't work long term for a lot of people, because people will start to cave in, they'll start to get hungry, and they want to eat their next meal. So one cool way to cut your calories and kind of mitigate this hunger is intermittent fasting. So there's a lot of different ways you can do intermittent fasting. You can do like an alternate day fast, where one day you're fasting, you're not eating anything, the next day you're eating like normal. Or you can do some sort of restricted eating window, where instead of eating 12 hours in a day, you're only eating for 7 hours in a day. For example, that's something that I do. I only eat between about 1 p.m. and 7 or 7:30. And the rest of the time, I'm not eating anything. So when you do this, you can get a lot of the same benefits as cutting calories, but mitigate that risk of getting hungry or breaking your diet. So how well does intermittent fasting work, especially for people who are trying to lose weight and specifically lose fat? So one study was looking at just that. It was looking at intermittent fasting and how it affects the body composition and other markers of health of certain people. And this actually wasn't just one study, it was actually a review of many different studies that were done on humans. So the study was looking at 3 different types of fasting that people were doing. So one was an alternate day fast, where again, people are eating one day and the next day they're fasting. And another type of fasting that we're looking at is a whole day fast. So now instead of alternating fasting days, these guys were actually only fasting once or twice a week, and then the rest of the week they were eating like normal. And the third group that they studied was people who were doing time-restricted eating. So specifically in this group, they were looking at people who ate 1 meal a day at a specific time in a 4-hour eating window. So one thing that they consistently saw in all these studies was people would lose their weight and they would also lose fat. And this was true for people who were obese, for people who were overweight, and also just normal, healthy people. And also when they were looking at the alternate day fasting people or the whole day fasting people, that their cardiovascular health improved as well, meaning their total cholesterol went down, and specifically in the alternate day fasting, their LDL, or their quote-unquote bad cholesterol, went down as well. So looking at that, you might think like, oh, this alternate day fasting is probably the best out of the 3. Well, I wouldn't go that far yet. Again, this time-restricted eating group was only eating 1 meal a day, so they were eating like a big meal in that 1 4-hour window every single day. And the study even acknowledged there are other ways to do this intermittent fasting where you're restricting your eating window. For example, again, I am eating 2 meals a day and I'm dispersing that in about 7 to 8 hours. And the study even mentioned that that style where you disperse it over 2 meals might be better, but there's not that many studies to prove it. But what you can get from this study is that intermittent fasting is a great way to lose weight and lose fat. And this is true for any type of intermittent fasting that you're doing. Now, there are some other potential benefits you get from intermittent fasting as well. We talked a little bit about improving your cardiovascular health, but some other studies were also looking at other markers of health. So other studies were looking at people's insulin levels, their blood glucose levels, their blood pressure, and their inflammation in their body. And all of these markers of health have shown improvement in people who fast as well. So why does intermittent fasting work? Why do people get all these benefits when they start intermittent fasting? Well, one of the obvious reasons is you're cutting calories. And you're not just cutting calories, you're cutting calories in a way where people don't necessarily get hungry and they don't want to break their fast. But also some other cool benefits you can get from intermittent fasting is it can actually increase your human growth hormone. So no, this human growth hormone is not just for you getting jacked. It's also important for maintaining your lean muscle mass. And it can also help stimulate the breakdown of fat. So this can be part of the reason why people who intermittent fast, they can maintain their lean muscle mass, but also lose their fat. And something else that can get improved during intermittent fasting is autophagy. So autophagy is basically the breakdown and the recycling of different cellular components. So this has a couple cool benefits. One, it can actually prevent you from getting certain diseases. And also it can extend the lifespan of your cells. So if you're looking for a cool way to start cutting calories and losing weight and losing fat, but also maintaining your muscle mass intermittent fasting would be a great way to do it. I will add though that you should combine this intermittent fasting with some sort of resistance training. So whether you're working out or you're just doing push-ups at home or you're just doing some sort of exercise. You don't want to be sedentary during intermittent fasting and really don't want to be sedentary during any part of life because obviously exercise is good for you. But if you just start intermittent fasting and you stop working out, then you're probably going to lose some of that muscle mass as well. Well, I mean, it's not like you had muscle in the first place, so what do you got to lose? Thank you guys for watching. I hope you liked that video, and if you haven't already, hit that thumbs up button and subscribe to my channel below. I will see you in the next video.